So this class we will see about the procainamide synthesis. So this procainamide synthesis, the starting material. So we have the 4-nitrobenzoic acid. So this is the 4-nitrobenzoic acid. On treatment with thionyl chloride. So this COOH becomes a COCl, and the COCl will react with the NH2, CH2, CH2N, CO2H5 ties. So that what part it happens is the Cl part of the COCl, which is from the thionyl chloride, and the one of the hydrogens from NH2 is lost as HCl, and the remaining part is will join and it forms the intermediate compound, this one. On reduction, that is we can use various catalysts to form the that is to reduce these things. That is, the NO2 group is reduced to NH2 group in the presence of hydrogen. So this is the simple method for synthesis of procainamide from 4-nitrobenzoic acid. Then coming to the uses, procainamide is effective in the treatment of several types of cardiac arrhythmias. Then effective in patients who are unresponsive to quinidine. So the first drug was the quinidine in class 1A. So if the quinidine is unable to antiarrhythmic agents, then we substitute quinidine with the procainamide. So the procainamide is also orally active. Then it is resistant to the enzymatic and chemical hydrolysis. So when it is resistant to hydrolysis, then here the metabolites that are formed will be less or to negligible extent. But in this case, half of the drug is unchanged, that is, it does not undergo metabolism. Then whereas the other half is undergoing the acetylation process, that is the COCH3, acetylation of the amine group which is present in the procainamide will undergo the acetylation process. So the main organ where this metabolism occurs is the liver. So in liver, this metabolism of procainamide occurs. When it is taken orally, then it reaches to the liver, and then we call it as first pass metabolism also, and it is undergoing acetylation process. Okay, then the main metabolites which are obtained from, or which are the metabolites of procainamide include para-aminobenzoic acid, and then the second metabolite is the N-acetyl procainamide. So N-acetyl is nothing but the acetylation of NH2 group of the procainamide, which is also an active antiarrhythmic agent. So here procainamide as well as the parent compound procainamide and as well as its metabolite, that is the N-acetyl procainamide, both of them are acting as the anti-arrhythmic agents. So here we have to be careful. So for the GPAT exams, the two metabolites for procainamide is the para-aminobenzoic acid, and another is the procainamide, N-acetyl procainamide. So the para-aminobenzoic acid is inactive, whereas the active, that is the N-acetyl derivative, is active as anti-arrhythmic agent. Then coming to the enzyme, that is which is the enzyme that is responsible for the acetylation of procainamide. So here the enzyme is N-acetyl transferase. So this is the enzyme which is responsible for the acetylation of amine group of procainamide. So as we know that there is variation in the acetylation process, that is the presence of N-acetyl transferase enzyme in different group of people. So if this enzyme is present in less quantities, then we call them as slow acetylators. And in people with the more amount of N-acetyl transferase, then we call them as fast acetylators. So these fast acetylators or slow acetylators is an important factor for the adverse effects of these antiarrhythmic agents. See, the 60 to 70% of the patients who are on the this procainamide, so elevated anti-nuclear antibodies are commonly seen, and of these 60 to 70%, 20 to 30%, they have the drug-induced lupus syndrome. This is the syndrome that you all have to remember. So GPAT question, the adverse effects of the procainamide. So which syndrome is commonly seen in case of procainamide? So your answer must be lupus syndrome. Okay. So this lupus syndrome, what is this lupus syndrome? Lupus syndrome is a systemic disease where the immune system of the body itself will sense the organs or the tissues of the its own body as the foreign substances, and antigen reaction takes place. So that condition is called as lupus syndrome. So this lupus syndrome is most commonly seen in case of the procainamide, which is commonly asked in case of the GPAT questions. So this you have to remember. Then other than the this lupus syndrome, what is the reason for this lupus syndrome, which is causing the antigen antibody reaction? So here the aromatic amino group which is present in the procainamide is responsible for this lupus syndrome, that is more rapidly seen in slow acetylators. So this aromatic amino ring will undergo acetylation to lesser extent in case of slow acetylators, and the amount of drug available for the therapeutic action is more in case of slow acetylators, and thereby these adverse effects are most commonly seen in slow acetylators. Okay. So procainamide induced lupus syndrome, it lasts for only a short term, that is until the drug is given to the patient. This lupus syndrome effect will be seen, and once the drug is discontinued, then the patient becomes normal. So we should it is not the thing that is we should worry about, but when these reactions occur, we must be careful enough. Then coming to the second drug, the synthesis of mexidrolin. So here the starting material for the synthesis of mexidrolin is sodium salt of 2,6 dimethyl phenol. So this is the starting material. So it reacts with chloroacetone. Acetone is CH3COCH3, but one of the hydrogens of methyl group of acetone is replaced with the chlorine. Then we call it as chloroacetone. So they react with this chloroacetone reacts with sodium salt of 2,6 dimethyl phenol to give you 2,6 dimethyl phenoxy 2-propanone. So this is where the addition takes place. So Na plus and Cl minus reacts, and they are cast as NaCl minus salt, and then the addition of the remaining CH2COCH3 takes place to the phenoxy, that is phenol group. Then the formed compound reacts with hydroxylamine, that is NH2OH, and where the carbonyl group CW bond O group is the reactive site for the hydroxyl amine. So it forms an oxime. Okay, and these oximes are unstable, and once we isolate this, then they must be converted into the suitable derivatives for the stability. So the we are reducing this compound, that is the oxime which is formed by using hydrogen, and catalyst is ranitidine, and it will undergo the reduction and will give the NH2. It is NOH is converted into NH2 here, and the final compound, that is 1-methyl 2 prime comma 2 prime dimethyl phenoxyethylamine is the mexiletinin. Then the uses of the mexiletinin is, it is mainly used in ventricular arrhythmias. The different types of ventricular arrhythmias include there is ventricular extrasystole, ventricular tachycardia, ventricular fibrillation, and myocardial infarction. Then coming to the next drug antiarrhythmic agent. So this is the lidocaine, the structure of lidocaine. Right? And then this lidocaine is used in the treatment of ventricular arrhythmias as that of the mexiletinin. So this is the drug of choice for emergency treatment of ventricular arrhythmias, rapid onset of action on intravenous infusion. So this lidocaine is an intravenous drug, so it does not act or it is not active as a oral agent. So it must be given in the infusion form. And antiarrhythmic effects cease soon after the infusion is discontinued or is terminated. Then lidocaine is active only when given parenterally, that is the IV infusion, and it is not effective as an oral agent. So why it is not effective as a when it is given through oral route? Because it undergoes rapid and efficient first pass metabolism by the liver. So what is the metabolites that are formed because of the metabolism of the lidocaine? So lidocaine is converted into monoethyl glycine xylide. That is one of the ethyl group present on the amine part of the or nitrogen of the lidocaine is lost, and the formed compound is monoethyl glycine glycide. So we have to remember this, the GPAT question, the metabolite of one of the intermediate metabolite of lidocaine. Okay, it is monoethyl glycine glycide. So, and fantastically, this monoethyl glycine glycide is also good arrhythmic agent and good anti-arrhythmic agent. So good anti-arrhythmic agent. So, and this metabolite is acted upon by an enzyme known as amidase. So what this amidase is does is it breaks the amide group which is present here. Okay, so here breakage occurs and it gives an amine derivative and carboxylic acid derivative. Okay, so the amine derivative is 2,6 dimethyl aniline, or it is also called as 2,6 xylidine. So this is the end metabolite, and another end metabolite is which is acted upon by the or which amidases on metabolism of the metabolite gives is the N-ethyl glycine. So this is another metabolite. So the metabolites of lidocaine are monoethyl glycine glycide, which is also an active anti-arrhythmic agent, and the other two inactive compounds are 2,6 dimethyl aniline or 2,6 xylidine and N-ethyl glycine. So these are the metabolites of the lidocaine, and we should also remember that this lidocaine is not orally active. It must be given as the oral that is intravenous infusion form, that is parenterally, and the adverse effects are emetic, so vomiting and then convulsions can occur due to the administration of lidocaine. Then coming to the tokenide. So it is an alpha methyl analog structurally related to the monomethyl glycine xylide. So which is a metabolite of the lidocaine. So it's a similar to the metabolite of lidocaine, and in contrast to lidocaine and tokenide, it is orally active. So tokenide is orally, in contrast to lidocaine, tokenide is orally active, whereas lidocaine is not orally active. So why orally the lidocaine is not active because it undergoes first pass metabolism, and thereby the drug is not available for the acting as antiarrhythmic agent. So whereas this tokenide is uh, resistant to metabolism, and thereby it bypasses the first pass metabolism, and then it can act as a orally active antiarrhythmic agent. The methyl group is believed to show the rate of. So here, if you look into, this is the alpha methyl group. So next to nitrogen, this carbon is called as the alpha carbon, and the compound that is the alpha methyl group is responsible for the resistance to the metabolism, and hence the tokenide, the confers oral activity. Then coming to the sotalol, it is used orally to suppress and prevent the reoccurrence of life-threatening ventricular arrhythmias. So this is the main action of sotalol, which acts on the beta 1 receptor. Then coming to the adverse effects of mexiletine. So this mexiletine, like tokenide, it is having the same effects, that is the therapeutic effects like lidocaine and tokenide similar. And this tokenide, like tokenide, mexiletine has very good oral activity and absorption properties and long half-life. So this mexiletine is 12 to 16 hours. That is, its plasma T half is 12 to 16 hours. So it has got a good half-life. That means longer half-life. And the adverse effects are, these mexiletine are similar to the tokenide and lidocaine. Okay. So these are the few effects of the